Welcome back to the JS Performance Shop channel. Going to be a quick video today. We're just going to go over what we're going to be using on our LS swap into our 71 GMC C10 or C1500. I still have much time this weekend, and head back to work after being laid off. I head back tomorrow, and it's been flipping cold this weekend. It's about -15 right now. It's 9 o'clock at night. So I got the heater going, and yeah, we'll go over some stuff, and it'll be a quick one, but hopefully informative, especially if you're doing an LS swap into a C10. Alrighty guys, so now we're going to get to how do you control this LS. Now, I shouldn't say I have an advantage, but maybe I do a bit. But a couple years ago, I cam swapped a 2000 Silverado, so I have HP tuners, and I have a very limited amount of experience with tuning a factory PCM, an 0411 PCM as they call it. So I decided to go this route, and this route is also, well, I guess the absolute dirt cheapest route would be taking a factory truck harness or car harness and whittling it all down to what you need and reworking the whole harness. Well, that takes a lot of time and effort, and I just don't have a lot of time to do that. So I bought the next cheapest option. This was like $100 LS swap harness off of Amazon. You can also get them on eBay. This is the dirt cheapest harness, and honestly I was kind of scared about using it, but since I've actually changed my mind. Some guys refer to this to the hybrid harness. This one actually has a it has a 5-pin MAF as well as the 3-pin MAF and air temp built in. All these wires actually run into the same, they must be spliced together, they run into the same pins. So I will not be using these two plugs here. I'll actually end up probably opening this up and cutting these out, or just hiding them somewhere on the motor. I'll be using the 5-pin because that's the MAF I have. This harness is set up for an F-body using EV1 injectors. And I have bought these EV1 to EV6 injector adapters. They're cheap on Amazon, about 20 bucks. Again, using cheap Amazon and eBay parts. They click right in, nice and tight, and they click right on a factory EV6, so flex fuel injector. What I did to test this harness is I used my multimeter. If you're working on vehicles, especially on LS, guys, you should get yourself a multimeter, it's worth it. I put it on a resistor, and on this multimeter, when it senses the resistance going through and it goes all the way through, it beeps. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I have the heater going in here. It beeps. So what I did is I went to lt1swap.com and I downloaded, they have the whole pinout for the F-body factory, and I also downloaded the whole pinout which they have for the truck 99 to 02 truck. And how these work is you download it and it'll have the blue plug, and then it'll have the red plug. And I sat down with my multimeter and I went pin 1 on this system, pin 1, black, PCM ground. So I took these two leads, went to pin 1 on the blue connector. Sure enough, it's black. I ended up taking a paper clip, which I forgot to grab, put it in there, put the paper clip in there, and I actually wrapped it around this and kind of made a little extension, put it through that hole, and then I went over to the PCM ground where it should be and touched here. And this should make a noise saying that, yeah, I'm trying to think of the word. Resistance isn't the right word, guys. It's, the wires are connected. I can't think of the right wording right now. I sat there and went through this whole thing doing this. I found one wire that did not make sense. I just have to find it here. It's a brown wire. Anyways, guys, I'm having a hard time remembering. There was one wire on this whole thing that did not make sense. I believe it was red. I ended up putting it into red 52, and it's a reference wire, I believe, for the alternator. Either way, everything would have been okay. It wouldn't have burned the truck down. It would have ran fine. It was just some weird wire they had in a weird spot that actually in here said it should not be used. I want to say they had it in pin 64, and in here says it's not used, and I ended up moving it to 52, I believe. Now, the other thing I did is I ended up actually rewiring some of the wiring on the blue plug. I made it so it matches the 99 to 02 truck harness. So I ended up moving pin 8 to 46, 48 to 47, 54 to 60, and then 60 to 54. So swap those two wires. And then 80 to 63. Now, all of these, they were just nothing huge, nothing that would make the vehicle not run. But I just figured I'm going to be using a truck PCM, an 0411 PCM. I might as well make sure that these plugs match the PCM I'm going to use. So that's what I ended up doing. I swapped it to the truck wiring. I haven't done this yet, but I might add a 12 volt, I believe it's 12 volt ignition power to blue 75 pin. Apparently on the trucks, if you even look in the schematics, on the F bodies that pin is not used, but on the trucks, it's a it says 12 volt. It says PCM ignition supply, so 12 volt ignition power. I've heard other guys say they haven't done that. Everything's fine. I figured, you know what, I might as well do it so I don't have to worry about it. I probably will do it. The other thing is you're going to want to order oxygen sensors for like a 2002 Trans Am Firebird with an LS1. These don't use truck oxygen sensors. I ordered this harness. I should have said earlier, this is the cheapest harness that actually still has a plug for a 4L60E. We're going to be using a Turbo 350 unless I find a 4L60 before we put the truck in. But I was ordering the harness anyways, so I might as well order it with the plug. And in the tune, I could shut off the transmission for now, because you're going to have to shut off VATs and everything anyways. So I figured, why not have the wiring for it, and if I find a cheap 4L60E that I can throw in here, or a 4L80E and get change the wiring, why not try, right? Might as well have it. It's better to have it than not have it. Other than that, this comes with a nice little fuse block. The cover on it's terrible. It's really hard to get off. Basically, you need a pick. I probably won't be using it once it's in the truck. Yeah, so it has a nice little fuse block, extra fuses, relay to fire up the PCM. All you gotta do is wire up 12 volts. And then it has a relay to run the fuel pump. And I'm gonna have to get some terminals to run the power down to the pump. It has a bundle here for your dash. This has TAC and some yada yada, a whole bunch of other stuff. And an OBD2 port. So it has everything you need. And at a fraction of the cost of other kits, other swap harnesses. Now, I know there's better harnesses than this, guys. I know that. Some people are afraid of these harnesses, but now that I've gone through and checked every single pin, which if you do buy one of these cheap harnesses, I would strongly suggest going through the whole thing before using it. Other people have found major issues. 12 volts hooked up to signals from sensors. Something to do with the TAC output wire being hooked to 12 volts, which will kill your TAC. Mine, luckily, was okay. and I can't even remember what manufacturer this is. Like, there's so many of them. They're all from the same factory. I figured for $100, it's worth trying, and I feel it's safe enough to use it. So, the one thing with LS's is oil pressure is not ran through this harness. I'm going to be running a mechanical oil pressure gauge with copper tubing. Blah, 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 blah. Copper tubing. I just bought an adapter off Amazon again. $10 adapter, threaded right in where the oil pressure switch was, and it gives you a spot to hook up a mechanical gauge. I am going to run all this, I haven't decided yet, either through the firewall or down underneath the seat to have all the computer and stuff underneath the seat. I haven't really decided yet for sure. It's what was I trying to say? I can't think right now. It's too cold. You do have to have access to the fuse block, and obviously you want to have your OBD2 port, but I was thinking I could sneak it up underneath the seat where I could plug it in just below me, do my tuning or whatever I need to do. I think for $100, guys, it's well worth it. It's worth trying. I don't think you can go wrong as long as you check everything. And there has been other instances where people have gotten these and they are wired totally wrong with coil pack plugs at the ends and just a mess and basically unusable. Mine, luckily, is actually seems to be laid out really nice. So we'll have to get into it more when we get it into the truck. Yeah. All right, guys. So this is the 5.3 liter we're going to be putting in our 71 GMC. This is a 2004. It's not a Silverado. It's stock cam, whole stock long block basically. I'll be using this intake. This is kind of a weird intake. I think it's 2006 Envoy, and I think SSR. So it's more or less a truck, like a 99 to 06 or 07 classic truck intake, but it's 4-bolt on the throttle body. Has a bit thicker of a throttle body plenum, and I think it's just all around just a little bit bigger than a truck intake. It's also using EV6 flex fuel injectors and the nicer fuel rails setup, and we'll be running a returnless system. So I'm going to be using a cable throttle, and I didn't have a cable throttle body for a 3-bolt, so I bought this 4-bolt 92 mil, and on this intake this bolts directly on here. I didn't need to do anything weird. I forget what size the factory one is, but it's very close. I think it's like 87 or 88 mil. I ordered the dirt cheapest eBay headers, well, long tube stainless headers. Those are the cheapest ones I could find for long tube for an LS for a C10. It says they fit, well, it says 67 all the way up to 98, but I don't really believe that. But we'll see how they fit once we go in. Water pump wise, we'll be using just a factory truck water pump. Nothing fancy there. I've decided not to use NOx sensors. I don't know if that was the best solution, but I've decided to get this ICT Belay valley cover. It was about $65 on Amazon. I have put a brand new aluminum timing cover on, just a factory replacement. The one that was on here was all corroded. I've gotten these mounts. Now, these mounts are actually slider mounts. Dirty Dingo makes a set that is very similar. These are just the cheapest ones on eBay. They also sell them on Amazon. They were about $60 Canadian. And they're actually meant for an LS into a 73 to 87 with a stock truck oil pan, which is what I was trying to get away with, is I didn't want to get an aftermarket oil pan. And my truck actually has 73 to 87 pedestals in it. These are not the proper 67 to 72 pedestals. These are for sure out of a square body. And there's nothing holding the bottom there. That's actually not welded or bolted down. They're only bolted on the top. I will be fixing that once we get to there. Yeah, it's not the best but it's what I have. I didn't realize that until I pulled out the small block out of here, that's what was going on. I might have to do some work down here. I'm not really sure. These are also still in the 6-cylinder position. They should be in that front hole. And I don't know if nothing is going to line up after that or what, or why they didn't do that. We'll have to figure that out when the time comes, which will be pretty quick here. With these headers, I'm running a Dorman bolt, but the bolt's pretty long, so these headers actually won't suck down. So to fix that, I've gotten these Remflex gaskets. They're super thick. They got like a graphite coating. I've used these gaskets on a lot of different headers, especially stuff that's uneven, like on an old small block or big block. They work friggin' fantastic, guys. Like, you cannot go wrong with these. They're not the cheapest solution, but they are basically put them on and you never have to worry about them again. We're going to be using one of these little cheap Amazon, eBay little crossovers. This will actually shoot this out right here instead of the factory on this side going through the throttle body. I do not want to do that, especially with their aftermarket throttle body. I don't even have the capability. So it's going to shoot out here. Now, first off, I'm hoping we don't run into interference with the water pump here. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't even test fitted that yet. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do. I know some guys tap the back of the water pump and run a hose over. I'm not 100% sure what my rad setup's going to be yet. I'm hoping to maybe use the factory rad, or I also have this large, I think they're 34-inch rad out of my brother-in-law's truck. He kind of replaced it for no reason, if I remember right. So I might try to transfer that into the truck, and then we'll run the factory little crossover pipe off that nipple there. So again, it's another thing that I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do, but worst case, I do have a factory little steam port crossover if I need to, but for the $10 this was, might as well give it a shot. I don't know if you guys have kind of clued in, but everything with this truck is I'm on a budget. I'm trying to do this on a budget. I bought in a lot of eBay and Amazon parts, so we'll have to see how it all goes together. From the research I've done, it all should, but you know how that stuff goes. Alrighty, next thing, for a throttle cable, I've just gotten this, again, eBay or Amazon. I forget what length it is. Obviously passing through the firewall and then hooking up to our 92 mil aftermarket throttle body. I'm hoping, that's the other thing with these throttle bodies, apparently they're very noisy. I'm hoping this one's okay. Apparently they create like a very wind whistly noise, so we'll have to see how that goes. We'll be using, again, the cheapest eBay harness I could find. This is Amazon. This harness is set up for an F-body LS1, so like a 2000 Camaro Firebird. Yeah, I think it was $100 Canadian, like literally 100 or 110 Canadian. So the other thing is, guys, is the fuel system. I don't have any of it yet, but my plan is to run a inline fuel pump on the frame. I'm gonna run a AN line up from the fuel tank, from the sender down to the fuel pump. Then I'm running a returnless system, like I said, so I'll have a filter, fuel pump, and then the Corvette style regulator filter that sends it back to the tank. Luckily my truck is an emissions truck, believe it or not, even though it's from Canada, which is kind of weird. And it actually has a return line. So I'm going to utilize that line from the regulator back to the tank. I would like to keep the factory tank behind the seat. I think it's cool. I know a lot of people upgrade it to a fuel cell. I mean, yeah, it's safer and yada, 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 but hey, it's a 71. If you're worried about safety, go buy a brand new Honda. It's not my thing. But anyways, and the freaking tanks for underneath the bed, they want like $1,000 Canadian for a tank. It's a square box of aluminum. I don't get it. So I'm gonna keep the factory tank and run again Amazon fuel pump. I think it's about $80 to $100 Canadian for the fuel pump regulator and line fittings. I'll obviously have to buy some extra fittings and stuff, but that doesn't bug me. So yeah, I'm trying to do this dirt cheap, guys. I mean, yeah, the cheapest option might have been to keep the small block there, but I guess I want to try something different, and I want fuel injection for when me and the wife want to go for a drive. She, like I said in the past, she wants to drive this thing as much as I do, and it's she doesn't like carburetors. Well, she doesn't know anything about carburetors, so she drives a brand new Volkswagen. So there you go. Anyways, guys, I know this is a quick one. I don't have much time this weekend. I'm going to try to film if I get a day off this week. Thanks for watching. We're very slowly growing, but hey, that's a good thing. You know, I just started this a couple weeks ago when I was laid off, so hey, I'm happy. I think we're up to 74, 75 subscribers. I started around in the high 20s, so I had some subscribers from before, but I want to thank all of you, and yeah, if you like my content, like, share, subscribe. The next video is going to be bigger. I'm trying to get something in the works for you guys. It's not the C10. I don't want to get boring. You know what I mean? It's I got some other options. Let's just say that. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate everyone. And yeah, see you in the next one.